All right, so this is part 2 of the 1-inch square tubing bender die. This part is mostly done. Machining this here is where I did that. I will never run a grinder on the lathe, especially with something that's not a full circle again. So these are the plug welds. These are where I should have the 5 holes. That'll be the outside diameter here. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put this back on the mill and drill that out to 1 inch, because right now it's 7/8 to use that shaft I was using. I'm going to put this back on the mill, drill out that 1 inch, use this and double check all the centers of this with my transfer punch, because I'm pretty sure I had that mostly center when I did it, but I want to verify it. So let's drill that out to 1 inch and double check all those. If they come out good, then we're good, and we'll go from there. And there's Supervisor Cash. Hey, buddy. My name is Dog. Alright, so what I have done is I drilled that out to 1 inch, and I'm drilling this one out, final drill bit 1 inch. I start off with the, I like to call that a drill starter, but it's also called a centering drill, I think. I don't know. Anyway, then I moved to 1/2 inch, 9/16 I think, 5/8, 27 something, and then the last one is just a 1/16 of an inch, so it's 63, 64, and then I'll finish off with the 1 inch. What I did was I put it on top of the other one. I think I showed it. I put on top of the 1.5 inch thing, and I used the 1.5 inch binder. Damn. 1.5 inch bender die. And then I used my transfer punch, and I punched all the holes that needs to be here. I'll be able to drill 1, 2, 3, and this one 4th before I have to move it, and then I'll have to move it to get this one here. Couldn't find a way to grab it and still not have to move it at all. So I'm gonna have to move this one arm probably this way. I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter. But yeah, it's going along well. I like to use multiple drill bits. It saves the actual wear on the drill bits. I do have 2 different sharpeners, and I can sharp up to 1.5 inch, I think, or 1.25. So I can resharpen them. I'm kind of thinking by the time I get to the 4th hole, 5th hole, I'm gonna have to resharpen. But I'm gonna do this one here, and that's where we'll end it, maybe for the day, maybe not. So let's get going. Well, that didn't work. You can see I'm almost down to the bottom. So if you notice, this thing moved on me. I'm going to turn this off. Let me use my gauge here. Lock it up. Pull it out. So it's 2.25 inch now. So if I were to do it, I would have gone further than I want. At 2 inch now. So I'm gonna put you about here. Well, let's put you about here. But I'm also going to tighten this one more shot so it doesn't slip again. Then we're going to turn her on. If you notice, this here is actually aluminum because I'm using this block as a spacer to make sure I don't catch my table. So this is sacrificial and help protect my table. The table I got when I got this mill, it had some damage. I was like, well, that's an easy thing to fix. Just put a spacer down. So, this hole is done, right? And the oil is on the ground. Okay, oil. So that hole is done. I went through all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drill bits. And I gotta do that 4 more times. So you guys probably don't want to see that. So I'm not gonna record it all. I didn't record most of this drilling holes because it's not too hard. I hope I was pretty clear on how I came up with the hole pattern. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. I would love for people to subscribe and comment to my posts. I am going to try to build up this website, or I should say YouTube channel. Okay, so we're about there. The sun's getting kind of low. I'm getting kind of cold. My wife came out here. She wasn't totally thrilled. I was wearing my my expensive shoes and probably one of my shirts she doesn't care about, my Moab shirt. But the shoes she bought for me, so I should have changed them. But yeah. So I did learn yesterday, and I know I put it on part 1, and something I already knew: don't use a grinder with a lathe. It's stupid of me to do it. I did injure myself. I am all bandaged up underneath this glove. I do have stitches. I'm going to try not to ever do something that stupid again, but I also know I'm going to do something that stupid again. That is who I am. I'll do my best. But it is what it is. Okay, so we're turning all these off. We're going to shut that door, turn that light off. I love this little container. It's completely waterproof. I guess not waterproof, but it actually has vents here at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that or not. But watertight. I've never had a leak in here. It is secure. So if I ever want to lock it up, which I do when I go on long drives, vacation, it's got a real neat locking system. But yeah, so we're done for the day, I think. Yeah, she's looking like she might rain again this week sometime. Yeah. But, yeah. All right, later. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment would be awesome. Thank you. I got all but that one drilled out. When I went to drill that one out, actually when I went to tighten up the 1-inch drill bit, the drawbar broke. here it is. You can see it has what I would say is pins that probably go through and hold it on to, yeah, there's the pin. So the shear pin broke. I was able to get it out, obviously. Had to use channel locks on this piece. You can see a couple nicks to it. So do I clean this up a bit, toss it in the lathe? It might actually be threaded. It is threaded, and it's a screw. I don't know if you can see that or not. Yeah, that's really the best shot we're gonna get. Anyways, this is a Bridgeport Type 2 drawbar, but I'm not in a big hurry to get this thing done, so I can clean this up here, measure about where this should be, right? We see the hole there, we see the screw there, so it should be probably about a 1/16 of an inch. Past that, toss this part in the lathe, clean up this end, toss this in the lathe, clean up that end, and re-drill and toss another. You can see it's broken. I think I'm just going to order it. I don't know. I'm going to see how much it cost. If I really wanted to finish this out, I could just weld it back together, machine it, and call it done, right? I don't know if that's what I want to do. I'm going to see how much they cost. I don't see any other issues in this thing. It looks good all the way through. I don't want to take this piece off, because what I could do, even though it's not perfect, is I could put that drill back in, right, because that's a nice tight fit, and then line this head back up, because I had to go sideways because I don't have enough room in my container to pull the dry bar out. Which, now that I know it's broken, I could have maybe lowered the table enough to drop it out through the bottom, because that's how I ended up getting it out. I thought I'd have to pull it out through the top, because that's how you install it. So, once again, I'm sidetracked with a different problem. Oh, that's where we're at the moment. I'm going to find out how much they cost. I've been wearing my gloves this time, because I still got a band-aid on my arm from my whole debacle. So let's figure out how much this drawbar cost. Maybe ETA. If not, in that shed right there is another drill press that I can utilize. I'll show you that in a second. That's the other drill press I have. It's actually a really nice one. Rockwell Delta, variable speed, just like the mill. Not sure it has the same grunt. I think it has, no it doesn't. I was thinking it had T-slots, but it doesn't. But I can still bolt that piece down and then drill it up nicely. I don't think it'll fit on this, obviously not. I'm going to see about getting the right drawbar first. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I welded this thing back on. I put it in the lathe and trued up the surface here. I'm going to make a nice washer that'll give it rotation and fill up the gap that was, for the better word, destroyed. So it should go right in that chuck. At least that's the plan now. So, cleaned up that, welded it on, lathed it true or flat or square, and now we'll cut a washer. I have 3/8, I have half, I don't have 7/16. So I'm taking this 3/8 by a over 1/8 inch thick washer. I'm going to drill it out to 7/16 inch ID. Alright, that worked out. Now I got a nice washer that will fit on the top end of the head. And it should all work. I'll go measure it real quick, make sure I'm hitting all the dimensions. It's supposed to be like 23 and 6/10 from the top of the thread here, I think. I'm just going to measure it, make sure I'm in the right dimensions. That's always fun, right? Yeah, let's try that. Alright, so I had this reversed, where this was on that side. So, set up this way, it's almost fucking perfect. So the follower will be drilled right about center, right about where it is sitting now. I still need to put 1/4 inch plate on each side. That'll, you know, cover that gap there, so it'll encapsulate the 1 inch square tubing as it's bending. Shit. My goal was to have 1/2 inch overlap here and 1/2 inch overlap from the, I'm going to call this the anvil. I'm going to call this the follower. I don't know what it is. That way it'll encapsulate it as it's bending, right? As it continues to bend, will that hold up? I think it should. Because the follower on here is only 1/2 round. The other anvil is 1/2 round. I don't know, I guess we'll find out, right? Other than that, yeah, this will be how it goes. So I need to clean up all 4 sides of this and make it a nice smooth transition. Then I'll mark it again where I want to pop the hole. I'll probably use my transfer punch. This one's 7/8, so I would just obviously this is a little bit more than 7/8. I'll see if I have a tighter one. If not, I'll use a scale. That'll give me basically where I want it to go. Mark it, drill that, and then I still gotta create a block back here with a hole and the saddle that'll go around this, and help hold it while it's being pulled around the radius. Alright, so that's the next step. Clean up the 4 sides and weld the 1/4 inch plate on it. So, yep, that's where I'll stop. The follower's basically milled as far as I'm taking it. I milled the front face here. I'll grind these or use the belt sander on them, one of the two. But I'm not going to bother tossing them in the mill. I'm going to draw my template for the 1/4 inch plate. That'll go on the top and the bottom. I use the mag drill here to drill plug welds, probably 1, 2, maybe 3. And then fill those just like I did the other. Either that or I'll do 1 and 2. And I'll make it smaller than this. No, I'm going to make it bigger. And then I'll do a weld on each side here. That way it extends past on each side. Yeah, so I'm going to make it a little bit longer, probably about 1/8 of an inch, maybe less than a quarter, more than an eighth. That way I got a good section to weld onto. Then I'll do a plug weld to plug weld. It'll come out here about a 1/4 inch. I'll toss it back on the mill and true up both plates, and then that section will be done. And then I'll put it on the bender, which is out here, and I will mark the hole, and then I'll drill the hole, and then that'll be done. And then the only thing I do is build something like this out of 1 inch and drill a hole in it for the other die or anvil or whatever we're calling it. So we're getting closer and closer. So this is the follower sandwiched together. I'm welding her up. I'm going to drill 2 holes, 1 and 2. Do some plug welds with that thing to keep the center nice. But I don't think this will go anywhere. I'll set it up and then I'll make a decision on where the pivot hole will be, which will be somewhere around this area. Alright, we got those 2 drilled. We're going to flip it and do the other side. Still a bit hot. And we'll clear this so it sits flat. Definitely still hot. We're going to all right. I was unable to use my vice grip one-handed, so sorry, but marked it off 1 inch in, about 1.5 inches from each side, and we'll drill these 2, then we'll plug weld them, and then that will be done, except for the hole we got to figure out where we want it. All right, those 2 holes are done. Now in general, what I like to do is, let's say this is our plug weld. I'll start at one end, weld all the way around, and then fill the center. So we're going to start here, dirt, 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 and then burp. So that's what we're going to start doing now. Then I'll flip it over. This will be done. I'll let it cool down. That is one side done. We'll flip her over. But that'll be perfect. Okay, follower is done. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Now we'll let it cool down because it's welded and all that, so it's a lot of heat in. I'm going to let it cool down for a bit. It started to rain, so I need to go make sure I see vice grips out there. I need to make sure everything that's important needs to be put up. We'll go from there. But kind of hoping to have that hole drilled in there today so I can call this part done. At least that's my goal. This thing is coming out brilliant. Everything is lining up the way I want it to. Everything's just coming out nice. So I'm really happy with this. I got to weld a little section here with a hole so I can build a strap for that. But yeah, I don't know if you can see, she's getting dark again. There's Cena, and there's Teddy Monster. Cena. Anyways, so yeah, this is going out good. I was about to drill this out a little bit bigger than 7/8. Glad I didn't, because it's a perfect fit. These all worked out really well. So yeah, this is going pretty good. After I'm done building this thing, I think I'm going to upgrade my pump. It's an air hydraulic pump that's 20 years old, period. So she needs to be replaced. last time I bent pipe, it almost didn't want to go. It's probably not a good idea that I keep it outdoors, but whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna take this apart and cut a block for this, and weld it, V-notch it, build a strap, and then I'm damn near done. So yeah, all good. I guess I gotta drill a hole too. So this is gonna need, I think it's the same size. Yeah, it's a 7/8 hole. So that goes here. Right now it goes through this one here. That strap for the 1.5 inch pipe. That's a follower for the 1.5 inch pipe. So, okay. Yeah, let's take this thing apart and get it back in the garage and out of the wind and cold. Alright, so this is it, right? I got to build a block that comes off of here. Maybe not quite that big. Right? With a hole here, 7/8. So the strap would come up and over. Well, it'd be flat like that, right? Because this is going to be 1 inch thick. It's going to weld right to this 1 inch plate. It's going to come across, down, and then back around to hold this pipe as this spins and pushes it through. So I'm thinking somewhere along the lines of, what is that? I could probably do a 2x2, but I think I'll do a maybe 2.5 by 2.5. That would work, right? And then the hole would be 1 inch off of this outside one. Do this 1.5 inches that way. You know, build a nice size strap to hold that. This is what? That's wicked tall. I don't know why it's so tall. That's 2 inch by 3.25. Oh, maybe that's all I need is 2 by 3.25. I'm going to use this, and since it's already kind of raining every once in a while, I don't think I'll bring out my new chop saw. But this is 4 inch by 1 inch bar. So if I cut, I might just cut that 2.5 inches thick and leave it 4 inches. Less cutting. Oh, it's getting cold. I'm gonna cook some dinner for the wife and call today done. I left the pantry door open, so it looks like the dog decided this was her new bedroom. But she's cute, so she gets away with it. You know how it is. So this is the part that will hold the saddle, that will help draw the tubing through the bender. Cutting it with the cold saw. how clean it cuts. Solid 1-inch bar, 4-inch by 1-inch. And pretty damn cold. So, I'm going to take it over to this. It actually didn't seem like it cut perfectly straight. I wasn't expecting it to. But let's see how well it did. So, since I have 1/4-inch plate on the top and the bottom of this thing, right? I'm using these 1/4-inch spacers to put this at the correct height. I like that. So then, where do I want the hole, right? I'm thinking somewhere about here, maybe. I'd like to find a way to do so. If I do that, so yeah, I'm gonna do an inch in. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to make sure this, oops, that moved. So I'm gonna make it to where when this is where it needs to be, this will be 2 inches. I hard to do this with one hand, but yeah. So if I have an inch here, an inch here, it's 2 inches before this. Then we'll do an inch from the inside or from the outside of this in. That way it'll be 4 inch piece. Yeah. So we'll do a 4-inch strap. So 4 inches, 1 inch down, 4 inches on the other side, a 4-inch strap to catch this. I like that idea. It'd be really cool if I had a 4-inch square tubing that was 4-inch. I guess it really doesn't matter how long it is, but if it was 1-inch ID. That's about 1.5 or 1 5/8 it looks like. But if I had something like that was already formed in a U shape, that would be an ideal way to start it. This is probably 1 inch. It is. I'm not sure if those rounded corners would screw up anything, because the tubing I'm planning on bending does not have rounded corners. Well, I guess it does. So if they had something like that at the steel yard that was 1-inch ID and anywhere above 3 inches. So if it was 1-inch ID by 3-inch ID or 4-inch ID and a 1/4-inch pipe, like I think that is, that might be 3/16. But if it was something like that, I would just cut off here and there and make it a C channel. I'm 99% sure I don't have anything like that laying around. That's actually the closest thing I have. That was built for other reasons. Yeah. I don't think I have anything that'll... Yes, I'm a junk collector. Yeah, I don't see. I have this strap. I have that strap too. But I think that would do it. Actually, I like this one better. Oh, sorry for the shaky cam. That's got to be more than a 1/4 inch thick. I wish it was a little wider. All right, this is, yeah, that's definitely 3/8 thick by 1.5 inches. So if we put a 7/8 hole here, 1.5 inches, will give us a 1/4 inch, a little bit over a 1/4 inch on each side. So I don't think it'd pull apart. That's actually not a bad way to go either. So I think that or that one. I don't know. I'm gonna weld this other thing up first. Yes, cash. Cash money. Cash money. Hey, look at dog. Alright. I'll get back to you. Chamfering all 4 sides to get good weld penetration. Preparation is key to getting a good result. Alright, we got that part welded on and drilled a hole in it. That's going to be 2.5 inch on center, or to the center. So I need to make a strap that'll go around this. Probably, so let's go 3.5 inches long. 3.5 with a hole at 2.5, right? That gives me about a 1/2 inch past the hole, which should be plenty. So I need to cut 2 by 3.5 and 1 by 1 inch. Zerp, zerp, zerp. What I think I'll do is I'll drill the hole in the collar, whatever we're calling this stupid thing, the strap with this, put the pin through both, right, and this thing here, the block. That way we know exactly where it wants to be. Then we'll weld it all together on this thing. Maybe put like a 1/16 inch spacer here, maybe all 4 sides, just to make sure it's not too tight. So I'm gonna switch that up. I'm gonna do 2 by 3.75, 1 by 1.120. So I'm gonna cut those real quick and hopefully weld this stupid thing together and be done. I'm kind of done with this project. I already hurt my hand. Broke a drawbar on the mill, drilling all these stupid holes. But if all goes according to plan, 1, 2, 3 more cuts, 2 good welds, and 2 more holes, and this project is done. So wish me luck, because I'm getting done. I use sheet metal as a spacer, so when I weld the 1/4 inch plate, it won't be too tight. Alright, so this is all done. That hole there didn't come out quite as well as it should have. I needed to make this back further, mainly because it doesn't line up straight. There's, I think, the gap here. But we're going to give this a shot. I'm going to use this for now. Even though it's definitely not what you should use. Maybe probably should have gone further. Whoop. Well, hopefully this is coming out okay on film. I'm going to stop at where I think 90 degrees is going to be, which might require one more reset to that hole. Maybe not. That's about 90, so we'll look past. Let spring back happen. Well, not much spring back. Well, it's got a little concave here, which I was expecting. Ideally this would be closer to here, so you can measure where your bend's going to start better. But so far I'm okay with this. So let's hit pause and I'll take it off. Alright, on to test 2. I made those a little bit oval shaped with the mill, so I can get it out a little bit further than it was before. I have this piece of square tubing. I wouldn't mind a longer one to test, but I don't have it. So let's that's solid bar. Yeah, let's test this one, see if I can actually get it in the machine, and we'll see how well it does. Test 2. Okay, made this where it'll grab it better. It's still not as flat as I'd like it here. I may actually add a bolt to that to be able to tighten up that bar. We'll see. I'm not sure how far we can go with this. That's couldn't be more than 18 inches of pipe there. I'm still going to bend it as far as I can, and then compare the first bend to the second bend. Just like other YouTube channels I watch, it is kind of hard to get it out of this, because once the sides expand, it pushes itself inside that gap. Alright, so that's it of that. So let's reposition. We are at the end here. I think I'll go maybe to about halfway before I stop. Almost halfway. That's about, oh, you can see it actually start to move. So I'm going to call that done. And we look like it's almost all the way in. It gets caught up here every once in a while. There it goes. Now it's all the way in. Alright, it is done, and I'm happy with how it performs. This is not quite a 90, but damn near a 90. I didn't put a gauge to it or anything, so this is kind of by guess. The rusty, not cleaned off one was a lot harder to get out of the bender than the clean one was. Shocker, I know. But they both bent nicely. They got some deformation on this side, which I was expecting. You can kind of see it's concaved. The inside is also wrinkled a bit. That's the same on both. But that's going to be fine for what I'm going to use it for. Okay. So, would I do this again? Probably, because I'm a cheap bastard. The tool. So I bought this thing 20 years ago, the bender itself, from Trick Tools. I was still living in Bellflower, so we're talking pre-2004. So we're talking 20 years ago. I went online. I could not find the 1-inch square tubing dies for the Model 3 JD squared bender I have. Trick Tools emails says it's out of, or a product unavailable, whatever it said. It said, sorry, which it's 20 years old. They have the Model 32. I can completely understand that. I'm happy with this. I'll be honest, I have been looking online to see if somebody was selling a used one for a while. Never did. But this also got to give me some more experience, something new to do, keep me off the sofa, all the other good excuses. I used this welder. I used Hypertherm 380, PowerMax 380. That's got to be 15 years old now. I used that Bridgeport mill. I used the lathe. I used the oxyacetylene torch to cut the 1-inch metal. Used the plasma cutter to cut the 1/4 inch. Do you need the lathe? No. Do you need the mill? If you have a drill press, you can get away with the drill press. The mill, drilling 1-inch thick steel, actually 1.5 because the 1/4 inch plate on each side, to 1-inch diameter, by hand you'd never get that straight. You would never get it straight. There's just no way. So drill press, yes. By hand, no. You would need a minimum of drill press to get all this done. So there's that. The lathe damn near left me a right hand only guy. So yeah, you could have done it without that. I also used this magnetic drill from Vivor. I bought it for myself for Christmas. Really like it. I drilled 2 holes with this size, 2 holes with the 1-inch or a little over 1-inch. I drilled 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 holes of that 21 millimeter for the plug welds. That thing works awesome. It's definitely not the most expensive thing I've ever bought. But damn, I've always wanted one. I'm really happy I got it. And would I recommend it? Yes, I would. Without a doubt. It works. So, there's that. I also used this Vivor cold saw, which I've been wanting for a while. The only thing I will say is I'm not how sure it's cutting vertically. Because when I cut the bar, you can almost see it right there. It's not 100% square this way, which is how it's rotating here, right? Does that matter a hell of a lot? No. If you're trying to do some precision stuff, you would toss this on the lathe or the mill and clean it up. With this, though, I didn't care. It worked out perfect. It was from one side to the other. It was about a little over an 1/8 inch difference. So it was definitely off, but I'm okay with that. Would I recommend this? Hell yes, I would. Vevor cold saw worked really well. Puts out some debris, but that's okay. It's completely expected. So that was something else I bought myself for Christmas, and I'm really happy about it. I do try to keep the dogs. The only one back here all the time is Cash. He's the big shepherd. I do try to keep him out of here. I do sweep up quite often, but I don't want him to get any of this metal stuff in his legs. So we're going to shut this door. The air compressor is off. I am tired. I honestly don't know what time it is, but once I got this close, I wanted to finish. I had to turn off the air compressor. I got to sweep up in here more, but I'm tired. That's off. That's unplugged. So I'm good to go. I gotta grab my coffee cup because, you know, priorities. So now that is done, this will happen next weekend. There's a Jeep event I may go to, only if I can find somebody that wants to go out. It's Tierra del Sol Desert Safari. I don't know if I'll do it or not, but we'll see. And there is Xena. Hi, Xena. That was a heck of a jump. Don't press. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. If this helped anybody build their own, I'm glad. Remember, don't grind and run the lathe at the same time. It's really kind of stupid. So that's where we're going to leave it. Like, subscribe, and comment, and we can say goodbye to Ted. Hi, Ted. There's Xena. There's the old man. His name is Graham. Yes, my windows are filthy because these guys love to jump, and we just had a bunch of rain. There's Cash. He always shows up late to the party. Bye, Cash. The new drawbar came in, of course, after I was finished, but thought I would add it to the post.